I'm Reverend Elizabeth Howell, and welcome to Psychic Sushi. Today I have my special friend and guest, Gregory Nicholas, and he has been a longtime friend, wonderful psychic person. He does so many things to help people out there with his gifts. And we're going to talk about who is Gregory Nicholas, how did he become who he is. And he's going to demonstrate today how he does readings. And the reason I asked him on was because he's so unique. He does tea leaf readings, seashell readings, dominoes, very different than your typical reader or psychic stuff. He's also a fifth generation medium. He's worked in this field for a very long time, 30 years at least.
At least.
And you know, it's amazing that he shares his gift on a regular basis. He works at my psychic fairs. He works all over Northeast Ohio. He is everywhere. I think this man is at 5 different locations sometimes a week, but you can find him at all many different locations. And again, you can catch him at my psychic fair. So Greg, thank you for coming today and welcome.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, Elizabeth. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, but it's always good to get together.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of been hiding. So.
Yeah, you've been hiding, but no, it's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad you came because I felt that coming up on the current fall season, it's always fun to explore people who have gifts like you. You are a medium, you are clairvoyant, and the tea leaf readings and the dominoes and the seashells are so unique. No one else does that. No one else uses those tools. And so it's so fun that we can talk about that and explore it today. But Greg, I want you to tell our audience, more about, how you got started in this. And being fifth generation, let's give me some background on even how that got started.
Oh, absolutely. It all stems, as far as we can trace it back, Elizabeth, to my family roots in Italy on my mother's side. My great-grandmother and further back, she was from a little town near Naples. My grandfather was from Rome. And it stems back to that. And it just went down all through the family. I can remember my first experience with my gifts, whether it be the psychic or the medium, at about age 4. And my family, a strong religious background, but always worked things for the best good in the light. And that's how I was brought up doing things. I am drawn to the more ancient forms of divination or fortune telling, such as the dominoes, ancient form. Chinese invented them, the dominoes approximately 4,000 years ago, first for fortune telling, then a game. I love that. The seashells, again, very popular in the Mediterranean area, sometimes the African cultures, several centuries old. Tea leaves can be traced back. There's some dispute whether it's China or India, but they just sing to me.
Yeah.
So, and the normal, ordinary things, sometimes I stumble with, but with the more ancient techniques, I absolutely love.
That's amazing because nowadays, tea leaf readings, I mean, there's pros and cons. People kind of do associate that with kind of that gypsy, negative vibration. But yet, with it being as ancient as it is, it's actually extremely accurate. It's actually and I find it fun because you do things where you do a Victorian tea and tea leaf readings, like you do like a whole spiel, people come in and eat and get their tea leaf readings done. So I think that's fun that you can incorporate something that most everybody has in their kitchen.
Well, and that's a good point. Try and do things at home, and I encourage people, when we do the tea leaf reading events, this time of year we have several witches' teas set up. My wife helps with the food, but I also incorporate with that palm reading and sometimes candle soot charring.
Well, those are two very unique as
well.
well.
Very unique.
I remember the candle soot, and I haven't done that, but there was a good friend of mine when I first started reading, she would do it, and she, Mrs. G, and I don't know anybody out there in Brunswick would remember Mrs. G, but I don't want to say any more because she was very popular in the Brunswick area, and she did the candle smudge stuff, and actually she did that on me the first time I sat down with her, and was really I was fascinated by it because it really did show something. I mean, on a piece of paper. So that's cool.
It's incredible. And when you do that, you can turn it different ways and get different perspectives.
Right.
And it's like the tea with the cups. The towards the top is now. The further you go down is in the future. It's incredible.
So
it's in the accuracy. Yes.
It takes a lot of skill to do that.
And trust. And you know it, with our gifts,
Yeah.
anything we do, you have to have the trust and the confidence in
Yeah.
yourself to relay it to our client.
Right. And so your mom, did she read professionally, or was she just more like for family?
Family. All of them were for family and friends. And it was, in fact, to this day, I still use my mother's cards. She even had the buzzwords written on them. I don't use them a lot, and I'm the only one who touches them, but they're mine. That's
Oh,
my
how
gift.
special.
But more, a lot of intuition, more than the mother's intuition, would just know things and the certain things that come up.
Well, and she was very Italian
Oh,
then?
very. 100%.
So I could see where that would definitely, there's some very strong Italian, would they say stragas and stuff
yes,
like that?
yes,
The Italian.
Yeah, the strega, the superstitions and the customs. I shouldn't say superstitions. The customs that go with the Italian lore, very strong.
Like the evil eye.
The
thing,
evil eye, cloves, using cloves to ward off the evil eye.
Right.
Is extremely popular.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I studied a little bit of it, and it was amazing. We have to honor traditions. I think because there's a basis to many what we want to call traditions and the way people do that. There's some real honest basis to that, and we may not see it in our terms, in modern terms, but it's protection work, or it's just balancing a person work.
Well, and balancing in the protection along with the faith as well. The salt over the shoulder.
Right.
When an infant is born, you have the Italian horn, you have the anchor, the cross, the heart, things like that prior to baptism. So, and that's what I like, the ancient forms. And again, I was brought up to honor those.
Yeah.
And I like to do that.
That's great. So your family is you're from the Wadsworth area?
No, I'm originally from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
About an hour south of Erie, 2 hours north of Pittsburgh. I came over to this area back in 1991 and have just been evolving ever since.
That's right, because
really.
I don't remember hearing about you before 91.
Yeah.
So that's so cool, because I've been reading a while too. But it's good that you moved.
Well, you and I are
area.
both born with it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't born with it. Well, no.
I thought you were, because it felt like you had it in you all the time.
Well, my family is gifted, definitely, but I had a near-death experience at the age of 3, and I actually died, crossed over, and came back. And when I came back, I could see spirits, I could see angels, I could see fairies, I could see everything. I see colors around people, and that was like,
the auras.
Yeah, and it was at 3.5. You kind of go like, oh, what's up with that? What is that? You don't know. And I had a very religious family, so that was helpful in the sense they were very open religious. In other words, they were not fear-based or shameful towards me. But I was basically. Yeah, it's a long story, but I was held out of school for a year because I had too much imagination. They actually so my mom was like, and my dad were both like, you better get it together. Like, you're not going to talk to imaginary people anymore because you're going to go to school.
Oh, correct.
And I was like, okay.
Oh, I understand completely.
Yeah, because, and it was squashed. And I think that you, as you're putting, you at 4. So at 4, you started to see things, and how did that go with your family?
Very well with my family because of the generational ties. You could talk about it at home with mom and dad, but keep it at home.
Yeah.
You did not discuss it out with your friends, and that's what I relay to young people today. If you want to talk about it, keep it at home. But let's face it, kids, whatever, can be very brutal.
Yeah. That
very
is
hurtful.
True. That is true.
And so keep it at home. I try to encourage them to develop their gift, but let's not go public because people can say some very hurtful things, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even these days and times, it's really hard when people see that you do readings. They treat you differently. It's kind of like there's a catch-22 to doing the work that we do.
There is.
You're dedicated. I know that you're dedicated to helping people. You're dedicated to facilitating healing and balance for people, and working in the white light. I know that you do a lot of that work, and you're very popular at all the psychic fairs. Like there's always a waiting list to
That's
get
right
to
too,
Greg,
yes.
you know? And that's what's so fun because it's like, oh yeah. So, you know, so being young and your family is supportive, when did you start like professionally reading?
Oh, professionally reading, probably I'd have to say in my 20s. But professionally for select people, and even today I'm somewhat selective. But yes, in my 20s going out, I did take a lull because my career was human resources for many, many, many years. But I would use my gift to tell if someone was lying to me during an investigation. I see auras. You could tell if the aura changed. I could tell if they were lying.
Wow, so
And know how to
I'd
press.
hire you.
Yeah,
I would hire
exactly.
you.
Or during an interview, I could tell if someone was
Yeah.
telling the truth or bending it a little bit. So I've always used my gift. And then when I was in my 40s, just did it gangbusters to because it's normal. I'm a massage therapist, and I use it. Sometimes I do the two in conjunction, but it's just very comfortable for me right now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And your fairs are phenomenal. The way people come in and.
We've been doing fairs since 1998. I started doing fairs at the Purple Lotus.
Yes.
Which people in Brunswick maybe will remember the Purple
Yes.
Lotus. I was the lady that ran the nonprofit center there. And we started doing psychic fairs there. And then I kind of grew and had to change venues on and off.
Right,
But,
correct.
yeah, and it is, psychic fairs are a good way to, and seances, which you do too, right?
Yes,
You
I do.
Now that would scare people, I know,
Yes.
but I know a lot of people who are very, get very nervous when they think about a seance. They think about something they've seen on TV, like, you know, things start flying and, you know, all of a sudden, evil things come out or whatever. I mean, and it can't, you know, it's definitely television has made seances it very, you know, I don't even know how to put it. They definitely put a negative spin on the seances and everything. And I've even had people say that they won't mind getting a reading, but they'd be afraid to be attending a seance. So just tell people what a seance is.
For
Describe
me, they are not theatrical, non-Hollywood, and you're 100% correct. Hollywood has really done a number on our industry in terms of making people scared. My seances are reading events. Plain and simple. You are very well protected. Everyone is always saged. White light, bubble. I use a divine golden white light to protect us. I bring in Archangel Michael all the time. With mine, I'll be real honest, we keep one hand on the table. We do not hold hands. We don't sing anything. Let's face it, who wants to hold hand with a stranger for an hour?
Yeah, that would be kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Just
the
whole
energy
space,
is still there when you have one hand on the table. And I always tell everybody, please be aware of all your senses. Not only what you see, hear, feel, and smell. Because you may pick up a scent from someone. You may feel the table vibrate. Yes, you may see things, but you're not going to see things fly around. You may see faces change. You may see that, but you're not going to see anything evil. In my entire life, I have never had anything like that occur. And I do blame that on the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, and I think it is important to touch base that someone who you trained, obviously, and you got training maybe from your parents, but a seance from someone who's untrained. And I can't stress more than enough that someone whips out a Ouija board. No, bad. Do not whip out a Ouija board. A trained medium doing a seance is definitely you're working the energy of the people.
Correct.
You are protecting the people. You're making sure everyone stays protected.
Yes.
And whereas if you give a 12-year-old a Ouija board, they don't know how to do protection.
Well, and that, or anybody, those things, and you and I both know things exist. We want to be protected, and two things, just because you're there and you want, say, Grandpa to show up doesn't mean he will. We're on spirit time. The spirit boards with protection, that's right, please be careful. There is a game going around called Charlie Charlie that has been disastrous.
What's that? I didn't even know that.
Charlie Charlie is a game, and to my knowledge, been brought up in the elementary, maybe middle schools, where people, children, I should say, call Charlie up from the underworld. It is with two pencils on a piece of paper, and they just do this, and the pencils move, similar to spirit board-ish.
Okay.
I've had to do some house cleansings where I walked into the one, and the house was rancid. Brand new home. only about 2 months old.
Oh.
Rancid, and I kept seeing the letter C on the wall, not knowing what it was. There were 3 children there. I looked at the younger boy, he started to cry. The homeowner said, "Tell Mr. Greg what happened," and he said, "We brought up Charlie." And it
Oh my
smelled,
God.
it was rancid. I believe it is on YouTube. They can pull it up on their iPads and phones.
Didn't know
It
this.
is nothing to play with.
Oh, I
Nothing
know
to play
it's
with.
not. That's amazing. I didn't know about that. So
Yes.
when I was growing up, it was light as a feather, stiff as a board.
yeah, Bloody Mary.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Okay.
You know, and I had a sense that those things were wrong when you are in it. Just a sense. I just knew that was wrong. But so Charlie,
Charlie, please do not do that.
don't let your kids do Charlie. I would agree, because you have to bring in someone. You may bring in something that you got to get rid of, and then you don't know what to do.
And you and I both know the doors exist. Now, everyone is curious. I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority of people are very curious about the other side. But use it wisely. Use it with protection, common sense. Because once you do that, if you open that door, how are you going to get rid of it?
Right. You don't know how to close that
It's
door.
like an object that may be taken over by a not so nice spirit.
Right. Oh, that is. I didn't know that.
Yes, it's out there in the schools, and saging, holy water, salt, white light, everything to get rid of it.
Yeah. And so you do house cleansings too. That's
yes.
good. Yeah.
Do that always in white light, whatever, for the highest and best good.
Yeah.
Always.
Right. Absolutely. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
And because I'm comfortable. I would be comfortable attending a seance with you,
Right.
and that would be fun. And you do them all over, and you
Yes.
do. Again, we'll post Greg's connection so that you can get hold of him if you want to.
Yes, thank you.
So like you have one coming up, and this may not air in time, but you're doing one at the Buckland
Yes.
Museum of Witchcraft, which right there would be like, oh.
That's a tea leaf reading event. It is a tea leaf reading event at the Buckland Witchcraft Museum. It is the tea leaves and a few other things. I may throw in some palm readings
Right.
or candle charring, just to give people a better sense of who I am. I have been to the museum. It is a phenomenal place.
We're
small.
gonna do a show. We're gonna
Yeah,
do a show there. I'm
it's
gonna
great.
get in. I'm gonna get in. So that's was on my list of things to do.
Use my name because the owners are great.
Well, I'll give you my business card too.
Very good.
There we go. And you do that, and then you are doing a gallery event at Goddess Elite, I think, or is that?
Goddess Elite gallery event is coming up. September, October are my busy months.
Yeah.
I do have a seance Halloween night coming up.
Oh, where's that?
Farnham Manor.
Oh, Farnham Manor. Now that's a fun place.
The history of the home, pre-Civil War home.
Yeah.
Very good.
In Richfield.
Correct. Yes.
And so people can check out the Farnham Manor.
Farnham Manor, yeah.
And online, I know that they have their own Facebook page, and they do a
Yes.
lot of different events there. So that on Halloween, huh? So so that's isn't that
it's important to say seating is very limited. Like for the tea at Buckland, it is very limited as well.
Yeah.
And the seances, the only thing that isn't limited most times are the galleries.
Yeah.
But because let's face it, you get all these energies there, it can be exhausting.
Yeah. Oh. It
You
can
know what
be.
I mean? Yes.
Yeah. So I like the fact that you separate, as you say, a seance, but it's not. It's a reading event.
Thank you.
So
yes.
that's interesting because I know there are some very few genuine seance mediums that do what they call corporal manifestations,
Yes.
which is the trumpet moves,
Yeah.
the table lifts, and they, for real, things manifest,
Yes,
like
they do.
a gemstone or a cup of water
Yeah.
will manifest, or things
Yeah.
like that, and the ectoplasma shows up. And I think one of them is a Warren Culliver or something, and he's known throughout the world, and he comes
Yes.
through every once in a while, but they have documented, like photographed him doing a seance where they had the stuff manifest, and I find that fascinating.
It's
But
fascinating.
he's trained,
Yeah.
trained. He trained over in London, England, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's something. So I guess we need to express that for the most part, when someone says they're doing a seance, number one, you do want to ask the question: are you trained? What is your training? What is your background? And also maybe word of mouth. Did you have a good time or not? because I went to a seance when I was younger and I was not happy.
Oh,
and I'm not
right.
going to say who the reader was because it was a long time ago,
Correct.
time ago. But I thought it was kind of really, it wasn't much of anything. So anyway, so that.
But no, and you stressed it, Elizabeth. Training, protection, know what you're doing. What we do is nothing for the amateurs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with things out there, again, like Charlie,
Oh.
it can come through in many different ways. It's very, it can be very, unsettling to people such as you and I.
Right, and I still am shocked that the Ouija board is a game. Like they sell it as a game.
Exactly.
I'm like, who came up with that one? Like, oh, let's just spread chaos in everybody's house. Like, oh my God.
But training and, stay away from the dark side because things do exist. They truly do. And once they're here, they're very, very difficult to get rid of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
So, and there are people that pretend to be, good and they do bad. So that's got to watch
Well,
that.
and that gives us a bad name, let's face it. And another thing, and I don't want to get into too many details, the people who claim to, you give me X dollars and I'll remove XYZ curse.
Yeah.
Without getting into details, but you know what I mean.
Well,
yeah.
here in Brunswick, we
Yes.
had a major problem, and I don't know if that major problem moved out of Brunswick or not. But
Well, I heard it did move out of Medina, and there was one in the Wadsworth area that did move out. Just because of that. Oh, and one example in specific was you were cursed, you give me $1,000. Well, there was just that incident, I believe, Lake Geauga, Ashtabula County area, where that individual was arrested.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, about 6
I mean,
months
to me,
ago.
it's a psychological. I had talked to the county prosecutor about 10 years ago about that specific scenario, because to me it was fraudulent taking money from somebody. But he said if I arrest them, I have to arrest you because the people are giving money in good faith. They're giving money. They're not, but they are being psychologically manipulated, I believe. You agree with me, like that kind of thing?
100%. Because, and you said it a few moments ago. Our reputation and referrals are our best form of advertising.
Yeah.
It's good people, refer us.
Yeah.
And that's it. But you're right. Well, they do that. It can psychologically manipulate, play games, whatever. Who knows what those individuals went home to imagine? Right. Nightmares, anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Dreams are reality. We've heard that before.
Right. Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we've asked some people to come today, and since everybody knows me, and if Greg were to do a reading on me, you all would know, he might know my background or whatever. So we have an absolute stranger, Stephanie and Ben, and they're here to, Ben's maybe not so much a stranger, but I don't know Ben very well. But they're going to have Greg do a reading, and the first one we're going to do, he's going to demonstrate the tea leaf, and then he's going to demonstrate the seashells and the dominoes, because I thought that would be fun for everyone to see how a reading works, like how this unique style of reading works, because most people are very familiar with maybe tarot or just astrology, or more familiar with those types, or angel cards, or animal medicine cards. But this is definitely unique. I haven't met anybody who's does exactly what you do.
Oh, very good. I'm looking forward to it.
So well, we're going to have Stephanie come up, and then she's going to do her reading.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. We are here now with Stephanie, and Stephanie, you and I have never met. Correct? First, I'm going to demonstrate a tea leaf reading. As Elizabeth said earlier, I do tea leaf reading events. Very briefly, tea leaf reading has been around thousands and thousands of years. There is some debate on whether it was started by the Chinese or the people from India. Things seem to go more towards the Chinese origin. It is more of a ritual. You do have to use loose tea. People want to do a tea bag and open it. That does not work well at all. What we have done is already have prepared a cup of tea. It has been consumed down to about a teaspoon of liquid in the bottom of the cup. What I'm going to do is hand Stephanie the cup, and I'm going to ask Stephanie to please, if you could swirl the cup 3 times, probably with your non-dominant hand, please. Okay, she's going to hand it back to me. Now what I do is when I do this, I prefer to use a napkin of some kind on top because once I flip the cup, it does become rather messy. So you place the saucer on top, and I do a little bit of concentration on here to make my messages very clear and concise and specific for the individual person I am reading. However, I do encourage you to ask questions with me, okay? So I'm going to flip it, I'm going to concentrate, I'm going to flip it back, and then I am going to lift it. And as you can see, we have a pretty good smattering of tea leaves in the cup. Now, what we have is the handle of the cup. It represents Stephanie. It always represents our client at the time. Things towards the top of the cup are sooner to occur rather than things at the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to start turning, but please ask questions at any time of me. So we have right here, if you will see right here, Stephanie, this caught my eye immediately. It's rather large. Do you see what it means? Something, to me, this looks like something along the lines of a crocodile, alligator, something along those lines. Do you see that, please?
Yeah.
That means for you to be a little bit cautious about what you say, how you talk to people. It is not, and I cannot stress this enough, not physically harmful.
Okay.
Okay? It is for you. Maybe gossip, things like that in the workforce, okay? Or at home.
Okay.
Just make sure, and we don't need to get into specifics, but be very careful, okay? Maybe even a little bit more, I like to say protection, whether it be psychic, metaphysical protection, the white light, whatever you choose, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I am continuing to move around the cup, and one thing I have seen in here is, and I saw this when I flipped, and I want to be able to locate it, is you had a very nice, if you can see right here, do you see the fairy with the wings?
Oh, I do.
There's a fairy with the wings in here. That is a sign of protection from the other side. Okay, that is very good. I don't have enough time to get into the mediumship side of me, but this is protected. It feels very, very feminine, something coming through. And I'm going to just say briefly that you have some sort of a gift, but it also feels like you are similar to me, and it is in the bloodline being passed down, if that makes any sense at all.
Could that possibly be a guardian angel?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A guardian angel or spirit guide.
Okay.
Someone who is passed on, watching you, encouraging you. Does that make any sense,
Oh,
please?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we
Yes.
like to hear as well. Now, I also have a mask in here. I don't know if you can see it right in here. A mask, to me, that means be careful of someone who may be false-faced, two-faced. Does that make sense?
Okay.
They may be nice to your face, but at the same time gossip. None of these are physically harmful,
Right,
okay?
right.
But that's very good.
Now, with it being further down, is that something that I look for into the future? Or could it be manifested here, still here, but in the future they become two-faced?
Excellent question. Now going into the future.
Okay.
Whenever we get something like that, I always, and this is just me, prefer to err on the side of caution.
Okay.
For you to put that in your mind now and keep it going. Does that make sense?
Yes.
As well. Please don't forget to have fun. We see there's a clown face down in here, okay, coming up. Now this is, we're taping in September. So this would tell me sometime maybe going forward the rest of the year into next year, remember to have fun. This could be something as simple as a trip. That
Okay.
Stephanie needs to have fun. Does that make any sense,
Yes.
please?
I need a
Okay.
girls' trip. Yes.
There we go. And maybe you have something planned. That's very good. Hold that thought, because do you see the bird wings right here?
Yes. Yes, I
Okay?
do.
The wings, flight, have fun. A trip, maybe, but remember more along the lines to have fun for Stephanie.
Okay.
Okay? Going forward here, okay, do you see the dog right here? By any chance, do you have an animal who has crossed over or passed, please, from your youth or something? Whenever I get it this strong, it is a hello.
Aww.
I use my tea leaf readings not only for the psychic side of things, but also for the medium side, mediumship side. So that is an animal coming through to say hello, okay? Now, there's a ladder in here as well, moving up. And I do not know your career, but is there a chance for promotion or expansion for you, whether it be professionally or personally?
Yes.
Very good. The ladder is here. However, please, and when I see an X on the side like I do here, dot your I's, cross your T's. Makes
Okay.
sense. Does that make sense, please? So yeah, we have that going on. You actually have some very good readings in here. Do you see the neck stretched out down here on the bottom right under the handle? Do you see it right there?
Yes.
Okay. Have you put your neck out for somebody that has maybe been a little bit disappointing? Be cautious in the future of doing that for others again.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
For that particular person,
Yes.
or just
For that person, and maybe you are a little bit cautious for helping other people.
Okay.
You'll get over that, but if you do it, you're going to be more aware. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So very good, very good. Now, do you see the mound in the bottom? That can be called a stress mound or stress ball. Coming up, and this is not an omen, it may be the sense of becoming overwhelmed. Okay, a lot going on. In my opinion, we're well into next year with that, because we only have approximately 3.5 months left this year, I think.
Yeah.
If my timing's right. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Coming up, we're into next year, hectic, things like that. Please remember to sort out. I keep hearing that with you. Does that make sense? And to study. Are you thinking of some sort of enhancement for yourself going back to school? Learning learning. I keep getting that, and there's a book in here.
So I recently graduated, and I stepped away from furthering the bachelor end of it because I was overwhelmed with that ladder. I've recently kind of moved around, and so it's very interesting to see that there's that mound towards the beginning of the year, and so it all makes sense.
It's right in there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the mound in there is a stress mound. That tells me that it's at the bottom of the cup, so coming up, be cautious but prioritize. A little bit of an omen. Now, like anything, this is all subject to free will.
Right.
And I always tell my people, I know I am not, and Elizabeth is not one of the readers who say, next week don't cross the street or don't make any left turns. Right?
Right.
We all have free will. But for you, that's just a very, very good warning as well. You have an acorn in here. And there it is. There's an acorn here. That means growth. The acorn is there now. It is towards the bottom, so it may not be at this time yet, but the acorn growth, planting the seeds of an idea for you to grow.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh,
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's amazing. I really, that's fun. Did that touch base with you?
Yes. Yes.
That's a great
That's
thing.
awesome.
And notice there's no cards, it's just tea.
That's right.
And seeing the images in the teacup, how great
Yeah.
is that?
It's fun, and a lot of this is not only what you see, but your intuition. And once we just have to let our intuition grow. But you have a lot of growth going for you, I'm going to say, in a couple of different ways.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. And then we're going to go ahead and have Ben come in, and Greg is going to show dominoes and seashells. Okay.
Okay, we are now here with Ben, and we are going to demonstrate both the domino and the seashell readings. As I said earlier, dominoes have been around for many, many thousands of years. Rumor has it, and my research, that Chinese invented them originally for fortune telling, then a game. My family has used them since I can remember for divination. So what I'm going to ask Ben to do is, I have a full set in this bag. We're going to give them a good shake. I'm going to ask Ben to pull out any 6 tiles, please, and set them on the table for me. And domino divination is good because it not only tells perhaps current events, current emotions going on, but also things to come in the near future. So what we have right here is we have a blank with a 1. The 1 is the self, so this is Ben. This tells me that there is some preparation going on, and in some aspect of Ben's life. The blank 1, Ben preparing, going forward to do something, maybe to work on something else, whether here or at home, and to continue to do your research with that as well. 1, 1, we have the double. This is good. Ben taking care of Ben, doing things better, perhaps even a little bit more along the lines of the self-confidence arena with that. So this is very positive. I can tell you right now, you have no negatives. Okay? 2 and 2, right here, the double 2. Balance. I assume you are married? Okay. Balance going on. 2 and 2 relationship, things going very well. We all have problems, but this tells me things are, at the present time, very good. 3 and 3. He has some good doubles. This is one of the best readings I've had in a long time. And you saw him pull them out. The 3 and 3, this is very good for moving forward, perhaps in a professional capacity of some way, maybe even a learning capacity. But this tells me that Ben is working on some enhancements for Ben, right? Okay,
Yes.
very good. And it's a very good thing. Right here, perseverance is rewarded. This one, perseverance is rewarded. Keep plugging ahead. But it also feels, is it fair for me to say you have the support at home to do things? The support and, dare I say, the encouragement.
Yes.
Very good. Keep going up with that. Remember to have fun. Okay. Doing things for Ben and your family. All work, no play, the whole bit. Elizabeth and I know when times are good, we keep working because you never know when it will slow down for us.
Right.
But this is for Ben to keep going as well. Okay. That is just a rather quick domino reading, but I also use seashells. And the shells have been around for many thousands of years, of course. Very popular in the Mediterranean areas in North Africa. This happened to be my mother's jewelry box. And Mom's been gone, it'll be 8 years this month. And I just keep everything in here. And as you can see, they're from all over the world. I'm gonna ask Ben to pull out any 6 of them, please.
Do I look or?
You can do whatever you wish,
Okay, all right.
or by feel.
I won't look. So
Okay, that's
let's off to the
fine.
side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to choose.
That's fine.
6. Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, what we have here as well, this one, very unique, running in circles. However, if you can see inside, there's one hidden. This tells me to question. Something may not appear as it seems up front. Do not be afraid to question. Things are not as they appear. It could be from an individual person. Do you have children?
Yes.
It
2.
could be something from the kids trying to get away with something. I don't know. I'm not planting that seed.
That never happens.
Never. But something hidden right there. Question, this is not a bad omen. Let me make that clear. It's just there for your own knowledge and benefit. This has to do right here, this one, with, again, knowledge, learning. Maybe sometimes you may feel a little bit stagnated, but what you wish to do to keep going. Right here, sir, okay? Do something for you. This one is a great show to have for personal growth. Doing something for Ben, Ben and his family. Remember to have fun. Similar to when Stephanie was with us. Remember to do something for you, and just like you had over there. Overcoming the hurdles. This one, it's rather large and somewhat unattractive, but overcoming the rough spots. If you look at it, it's rather bumpy. Overcoming the rough spots, Ben. You're going to make it through, but with the help of someone else, maybe your spouse or whatever, other people at work, okay? This has to do with, this one in particular, the frustration. Do not let other people's frustrations or issues get the best of you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Easy for me to say, I get it, water off a duck's back, but at the same time, we have to let things go, okay? And then finally here, having fun, but put yourself first, okay? For Ben, you work, you have a family, things like that, but Ben needs to come first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we do with the shells and the dominoes, and I can expand on those, or we can do, like I said, whatever. But a fun way of divination.
Absolutely, and I find that it's very unique that you have, if it's okay, may I
Sure.
pick it up? When you say seashells from around the world, I can tell that these are from, wow, there's so many different ones. Did you collect these yourself?
My wife and I collected them together from all over the world. None of those are in the bag that you see at one of the retail stores.
Right, I mean, these are very unique. So did that hit any points for you, Ben?
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on that we're trying to do. We're midlife, so we're.
And you have some planning going on. Because they're showing me an iron right now for Ben to iron out things, but for the growth, for, dare I say, the future?
Yes.
Security for the future. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that touched some base with you a little bit. And well, we want to thank Stephanie and Ben for being our guinea pigs today.
Oh,
that
great.
was fun. And Greg, that was really interesting, using the different tools, which again, highly unusual, very interesting. And I think that, as we could see, very professional,
Well, thank you.
very well done as far as readings go. And, it's interesting that you've perfected these ancient techniques that are unique. And I think people look for that too. When they just want to get something different for a reading, they want to go to someone who specializes in something that's more unique, and they can come to you.
That's true.
And it's interesting, you also do massage, and
Yes.
you do a lot of charity work, you said, and talk maybe a little bit, tell people about the charity work that you do.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I am a licensed massage therapist in Ohio, but I do some charity work for cancer patients. Cancer has a soft spot in my heart. I did lose both parents to cancer, and there's an excellent foundation in West Akron where my massage is free. It's called Stewart's Caring Place, and it is for cancer patients and their caregivers. And my massage is free when I am there, and whether it's the massage, the Reiki, the yoga, the Tai Chi, the wigs for the ladies, things like that. In fact, I have talked with them on a couple of occasions about maybe a benefit. However, when you're sick with cancer, you come to someone like us, it's not our job to say if your treatment's going to work.
Right, and that's a very touchy space.
Yeah, but I do that, and it is a fun place. It is a fun place.
Yeah.
And we've even done, I think maybe you and I have done some psychic charity work over the years.
I do charity work as well, but I know that you participate a lot at the Stewart's Caring Place, and I think that's, again, an example of your character, because people who have a gift and they share it know that not everyone has money or is in a situation, and when you can donate massage or a reading to people, that is of great value, and that also what you give out, what you put out comes back. So we know that there are some people that appear to be really misinterpret what we do, and they think that we're doing it just for the money or that type of thing, and that's the opposite, that you do this because you want to help.
Thank you. And well, you and I both know, Elizabeth, that we have the gift, but we have to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Very true. We have to help everybody else pay it forward, whether it be keeping our prices low, professionally helping other people, or whatever. But the excellent point, and you're right, because you never know what way we can help, whether it be charity or what have you.
Yeah, and that's I just think that's so sweet that you do that, and he is one busy guy, so.
Yes, I am, but I truly enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, you do, and you go, again, you go all over Northeast Ohio.
Yes, I do.
So tell us that, you've done so many events, what to you was the most unusual thing that had happened to you at an event? With a reading or with a person or something? Honestly.
I had a lady wet herself.
Oh my, that's unusual.
It's very true. I was doing a reading event. It was a gallery, which is just messages from spirit coming through.
And she got
and
a big
it
message.
Was so specific, and I'll be very honest, names for me are very difficult. But I was looking right at her, this name came through, and it had to do with prom night and one thing after another. And her sister looked at her and said, "You just wet yourself," and she did. And it was not anything that was planned. That was one of the strangest things.
I could imagine you're reading somebody and
and she was so embarrassed she wouldn't get up off the couch. It was in a private home, but that probably was rather
uncomfortable
and remarkable at the same time. But that and some of the events, Elizabeth's fairs are always incredible to do, just because of the energy from all the readers, because you have 17, 18 readers sometimes?
I have 17 to 18 readers.
And the energy there is always very good, and something always fun happens. I love reading New Year's Eve. Seances New Year's Eve is a great time to read. Great time. I love the energy. But my seance events, the reading events that go on with that, are very good because I do encourage my attendees to take photos. You never know what's going to show up.
That's true. I think that's a good idea to do. We don't pick up at the psychic fairs. We don't really have people do photos, but we probably should.
Photos of around the room or of their individual reading, because you never know what will show up.
Well, I try to snap photos at the psychic fairs. We So we do have, I guess I can say we've got one coming up September 23rd at the Holiday Inn, and then October 14th at the Holiday Inn in Strongsville, right off of 71 and 82. And the hours are usually 11 to 5, and we have tell people to get there early, particularly with you, because I know when you come in, you get booked right away. All of a sudden, he has 20 slots open, and it's boom, 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 boom. And everywhere you go, you were just, and you read, you can plug a few of the places where you've been. You read out of Goddess Elite.
Thank you. Goddess Elite in North Olmsted, Divine Awakenings in Sandusky, Seeds of Wellness in Avon, Midway Metaphysical in Ravenna, and Dragon's Mantle in Kenmore area of Akron.
Yeah, Dragon's Mantle, yeah.
A lot of fun. I go to a shop called Enchanted Grove in Willoughby.
Oh, Enchanted Grove, when did you start doing that?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I'm not there as often as I would like, but the energy there is good.
Yeah.
And it's a fun store. She's very fun. I do a lot of the gallery seance events there as well, things like that. I teach certain things like scrying. With the mirror and the incense smoke, things along that as well.
Yeah, you just had a class, if I remember, like last month. So, you can take, some people can take a class from you.
And the domino class is coming up this Friday night at Goddess Elite. But you teach as well, don't you?
Yeah, I teach. I teach around. And, mostly Medina now. I don't spread out as much. It's kind of harder. No, that's, you do. So the classes are great. And I know that you've done tell people a little bit what's scrying.
Scrying, very ancient form. Okay, I'm going to jog your memory. What is one famous movie out there that has a couple of different forms of scrying in it? We have all seen this movie many, many times over our years from being...
Harry Potter?
No.
Oh.
The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, The Wizard of Oz.
Dorothy runs away. She runs into Professor Marvel with his gypsy wagon, his covered wagon. He puts on the turban and the crystal ball. They're scrying.
Scrying.
Later on in the movie, they're going through the poppy field. The Wicked Witch has her green ball.
Yeah.
She sees them. That's scrying.
So looking into an object.
And all of us have done it, Elizabeth. Looking at the clouds. How many of us have done that for scrying? Looking at the clouds, the smoke, in the mirror. It's all scrying.
Yeah.
You're in a relaxed state. It's a form of divination.
Yeah. There's actually a shamanic journey that you can do by looking into your left eye. No, I'm not going to say that. One of your eyes.
One of your eyes.
One of your eyes. And you can sit and stare in a mirror and go into more of a shamanic journey, which is really interesting. So
very true.
So you teach people how to control this, or how to
protect. Excellent point. But scrying is very good, as well as incense smoke. If you look into the incense smoke, it's 3D. You can watch the shapes come through. You may get initials. You may get words. You may even get a scent that is not related to the incense.
So a lot about symbolism.
Oh, huge symbolism. I don't do lottery numbers, so don't ask me.
Right.
I get phone calls all the time. No, I will not do that.
That's so funny, because just when I came into the studio, some people were talking about that, and the lottery, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because if we, I try to explain, maybe spiritually, metaphysically, you use your gifts to help people.
Yes.
And the lottery, unless someone honestly is going to use the lottery to help people, to gain power through your gift is not allowed. It's part of the universal laws, the white light laws, or the universal laws that run kind of everything. They're kind of like similar to Newton's laws of physics, but they're universal laws. And part of that is to use your gift to gain power over people, however that is, it's not allowed.
Right.
And not to say that you shouldn't, that you're forbidden. That's not the right term. But we understand that if we do that, it can come back to bite us, to give us trouble. So that's one of the big kind of rules, So you can use it in little ways, but not big ones. And
well,
I know
personal gain.
Yeah.
If we're using that for our own personal gain, I am convinced personally that if we use that for our personal gain, it may leave us. I mean, as quickly as it comes, it may leave us in some very unfortunate event.
I have seen readers that has happened where they've been using it, and I'm not going to name names because she was really a big national reader, and she was on a big national show. And, you know, she caused quite a stir. And I'm not going to name who this was, but I think we all kind of know who it might have been. But she was on live on air, and she was being, as a medium, she was giving a reading to a family whose son had disappeared. And live on air, she said that the son had passed over, and where it turned out that he hadn't. And so not only did she traumatize the family live on air, she was wrong. So that really kind of came back to our community overall, and said, oh, well, you know, all mediums are frauds. You know, that was a tough thing. She was doing these shows to gain. It was always for gain for her. It was always about her ego, and it was obvious she'd lost her gift. Yeah, and could not admit that she had lost it. If you know what I'm saying.
Well, we always have to remember, Elizabeth, where did we get our gift from?
Right.
It's born. It's spirit-given, God-given, whatever we like to say, but we have to keep that in mind. And once we use it for an egotistical purpose, as you know, we can lose it.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you, and I've seen it, but sometimes you wonder why, you know. But anyway, so that is an interesting gift, you know. And again, like you said, lottery. It's just such a it's a funny thing. I did have a friend who she would use a crystal ball on a black cloth, and she would pick numbers for people. She really did. And it was kind of interesting, but she wasn't picking the numbers, like she just let spirit pick the numbers, and she said, well, these are random numbers, I have no idea if they're ever going to work for you. And, you know, so she left it up to that, you know, like, so I don't know if they're ever going to work for you.
But in something you just said, I do dabble in palmistry, some palm readings as well. And with that, sometimes numbers come in, but with the palmistry, when you do that, you have to be careful. The lines on your hands are different than they were last year, and the lines now are different than they will be next year.
Right.
Physical conditions affect it. If I come in and look at your palms and they're red, well, did you just wash your hands in very hot water?
Well, right.
Okay, they're red. Do you have some sort of condition like a Raynaud's disease, which makes your hands cold? Right. Are they shriveled up? Well, you know, did you just get out of a long bath, or are you dehydrated? You have to be very careful with something like that. That is a snapshot.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And you're right. The lines change. I've noticed my lines in my hands have changed. I don't do palms per se.
Right.
And I'll have to tell you a funny story because you'll appreciate this. But I had a woman I read with, and she did palms, but the first time I saw it, she made me interested in palms because she read palms. And I thought, I got to learn this. You know, picked up a couple of books. So I amateurly learned palms.
Correct.
But then I realized she was using palm reading to hit on men. She was a very good-looking reader. Yeah. And she would take their hand and she'd start stroking their hands. And you could just see the energy this wasn't about a reading anymore.
No.
And I was like,
gain.
whoa, you know. So that I've always backed off of doing palms just for that. I don't like to grab people or touch them. I don't like touching people anymore. I don't touch. But palms are it's a very good technique. I think specifically for some specifics, like children, and like someone who will give you that's one of those questions. Will I ever get married?
Well, that's up to you.
Right. Yeah. But I get that. I get that.
And you just said something very important. When I do palms, I don't touch. I have a pointer, like a pen or something, to point at the line for that reason. Oh, my wife wouldn't like that if I'm, you know, feeling someone's hand at all. But you point for that. But palms are good to see personality traits.
That's true too.
Okay, you can tell if your palms are open. Do you talk too much? Are you too open? Do you need to keep them closed to keep things more secret? Yeah. Are you more protective of yourself, or what? But things like that. It is one of those things that they can tell. But I love reading palms of elderly people because you can see what type of life they had.
Oh,
rough,
that's true.
Up and down. The heart line is not physical.
Right.
It is about romance, hurt, pain, emotion, things like that. Lifeline is not the best indicator of longevity. I have read people who are in their 90s with a very short
Right,
lifeline.
right, absolutely.
But you bring up an excellent point. If you're going to do that, please, or anyone who's learning, know your boundaries. Know your
Right.
boundaries.
And again, that's where, as a professional, you keep those boundaries, and I think that's very important.
Yes.
And people feel safe with you. People feel
Thank you.
they know that you're not pushing boundaries, and they're comfortable. And I think that's why you're a very popular reading in the Ohio area.
Yeah.
So really quickly, the stores you're at, your upcoming, again, let's get your upcoming event.
Goddess Elite, I am there several times a month. I'm teaching. Saturday is the tea at the Buckland Museum.
Right.
The tea leaf reading event.
Saturday, September 5th. 16th.
Whatever this, yes.
16th.
Whatever, yeah. Yes.
All right.
Dragon's Mantle, I teach. October, look me up on Facebook under Gregory Nicholas. You will see my photo, and I post weekly as to where I'm at.
You do.
I always look forward to reading with Elizabeth and at her events, because one thing with Elizabeth, she is selective about her readers.
Yeah.
Who is there.
Yeah.
And the energy just clicks together.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been to one of Elizabeth's fairs, we all get along.
So yeah, we do.
We do.
We try.
We
do. So Greg, I want to thank you so much for coming today, and being part of Psychic Sushi. And we want to thank Stephanie and Ben, who had graciously sat down with you and show what an interesting thing. Seashells, common but ancient. Tea, common but ancient. And dominoes, ancient. And palms. Everyone's got a palm since the beginning of time. People have had palms. That's a very old sense of divination. And not a lot of people specialize in the older styles. Everyone wants to do what's new and improved, I guess.
Oh, yes.
And of course the mediumship. And we've known each other a long time, so I'm really glad that I finally got you on my show.
It's been fantastic.
We're able to make this happen today. So I appreciate you doing that, and also encourage people to check out Stewart's Place. And volunteer, because I think that's an important thing for the cancer caregivers and cancer patients.
Yeah, because we work, Stewart's Caring Place is, some people work 2-hour shifts once a month at the front desk. Other practitioners, such as the massage therapy, the Reiki, the instructors, and it is all free to cancer patients and their caregivers.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, we want to thank you for tuning in to Psychic Sushi, and at the end of the show, of course, we'll put up the contact information and how people can get hold of me and of Greg, Gregory Nicholas, and come out to a psychic fair or come out to an event, and definitely take a class if you want to learn more. I think education is very important. That if you learn more about these things, then you let go of some of the fear.
Exactly.
Because you have knowledge now. You understand what this is about. What are palm readings? What are domino readings? What are seashell readings? Now you know what it's about, so maybe not so fearful. And taking a class or two, I think, is the best thing that someone can do. And
it can awaken your own gift.
Yeah, it can awaken your own gift.
Awaken a latent gift you never knew you had.
I think everyone is intuitive. I think everyone is psychic. So. Again, we want to thank you for tuning in to Psychic Sushi, and I will see you next week.